Hello, hello, hello. So I want to talk about something that I genuinely do believe should ever have to be thought about in the first place. I have no problem with nothing at all in this life, except when people find a problem with something that they don't ever have to find a problem with. You get what I'm saying? For example, let me not take my business as a barber, any business, a food business. Let me say a food business is posting on social media. A food business is showing you a video of their clients walking in, their customers walking in, or whatever you want to call it. Their customers are walking in, they're buying a product, they're satisfied. But this product, for a bowl of soup, I think there's a thing going around with a fella, Geo soup, I think it's $85 for the soup, and people are complaining, oh, the price is too much money, right? But the person is constantly posting videos of people buying their soup. Now, I don't know if that's a subject that's supposed to be taught in school, but I mean, that would mean that people are actually buying the man's soup or buying the person's product, right? So if people are buying the person's product, that means people are comfortable paying the price for that person's product. So why do you or anybody else feel the need to say that that person's product is not worth it? Because clearly, it's worth it to the people that are buying it. So my question is, who really is the problem? The price? You or the person? It's low-key sounding like you, not gonna lie. Now I respect all people, and that is why there are multiple options for almost everything. So in my case, I'm a barber. There are different ranges in terms of pricing for barber. I'm nowhere close to the top of barber prices, bro. Barber prices in Trinidad, I've seen up to $1,500 for a haircut. My little 150, my little 200 is nothing. There's also the $80, the $60. They apparently still $30 barbers, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That is just business. Barbering on a whole is a business. Food is a business. That person is making their money, and here you are complaining about the price that you're not going to pay anyway. So it's kind of like, why feel the need to share it? Like, so let me just say is $600 for a haircut. The person already paid me $600 for a haircut. What is you saying? I don't think I gonna pay $600 for a haircut. What is that going to do? Like, who is that helping? Moral of the story, I'm not bashing anybody. Like, obviously, we are all free to have our own opinions. I can 100% respect that. But I can't 100% respect the fact that you can't see that people also allowed to have their own opinions. So how you going to bash somebody else for spending money on what they see fit? You know, a lot of people would watch my haircuts or say, you know, my haircuts are not always $100, bro. Go and pay $100 somewhere else, or go and pay, it's best I pay $30 by this man. And then there are also a lot of people that would watch and be like, oh my gosh, bro, it's worth it. The amount of times I've had clients sit down in my chair and then they ask me how much for the cut and whether I call 150 or 200, depending on what they're doing. And they're like, all right, bro. And as they finish with that haircut, spin them in the chair, and they're like, bro, I see why you charge me $200. So in that case, that person is satisfied. And even if you would have a problem spending that kind of money on something that you don't value as much as this person values, I find you could still say, all right, I respect that. But me personally, though, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that, you know? And that's fine. That is fine. So when you're on a barbering, if you want a low taper fade with a sponge on the top and the $30 barber, giving you the low taper fade with the sponge on the top, I respect you for going by the $30 barber. If you want to come by me, that you say charging $500 for a haircut, and you're getting the same low taper fade with a sponge on the top, why are you watching the next man's money? What he does with his money is his business. And if he wants to spend his $500 by me over the $30 by there, although you think it's more sensible, just leave the man alone. I might be young, but when it comes to business, the purpose, I think the sole purpose behind a business is to flick grow. At some point, specifically in what category of business you're dealing with, you will have too much people at that price point. That is when you have to move up. That is when you have to scale to the next point to facilitate as much people as you can while still making as much profit as you can. It is what it is, and that's just the reality of the situation. Different people in different circumstances, so you can never judge people unless you are in their circumstance and think the way that they think. Either way, have a good night.